All right, hey everybody. Sorry about last episode. I did have to end it a little early. I had it in my video title that the dog puked. Um, Long story short, my wife had to come down to ask for advice, and it was actually pretty funny because I sat there and I was like, what do you need? Not that it's difficult for me to interrupt my day and chat with my wife, but you know, I feel like she's the kind of person that every time I've got to take a shit, she's knocking on the door, coming in the door. She's like a little kid. Hey, what are you doing? You can't smell it? You can't smell the shit? There's poop coming on me. But he got so sick. We got like this groundhog or something in the backyard. And it just developed as soon as winter was hitting. And I'm not the kind of guy to get around to do anything right away or fix anything right away. It's just classic me. But we think he was eating that thing's shit and just started throwing up like crazy. He threw up a fucking football of food. Like, we gave him his nightly meal, and he puked every ounce of that up. And we're pretty bad about snacks too. Like, we give him snacks throughout the day, treats and shit, try to train him throughout the day, and puked every bit of it up. So it is kind of not a good situation that he was puking that much, but I just thought it was so fun. The enjoyable part of that whole thing was just I couldn't believe the amount of puke, which was funny because it was fucking like every 15 minutes he was puking, and so I go upstairs. He's puked up his meal, and then he's got another pile of puke, and I go, wow, I can't believe he's still got food in his stomach. She goes, well, I gave him some more food to see if he would maybe it was too much food. So I gave him a little bit more. And I go, why the fuck would you do that? He's puking. If a dog starts puking, it's literally probably something wrong with their stomach. You don't need to fill their stomach back up. So I go, don't do that. And I'm cleaning up the piles of puke, and I come back, and she's kind of holding him, like he's laying like on his side, and she's kind of like petting him like a little kid, and feeding him bananas with peanut butter, and pukes that right up, right on her carpet. And so I go, what are you doing? She goes, well, I'm feeding him bananas, and I go, okay. She goes, well, I read that bananas help with the stomach, being upset and dogs, and I go, okay. I've never heard that. There's a million things you can do to, kind of make that feel a little bit better for most mammals, I'm sure. And so I go, but why do you have peanut butter on it? She goes, well, it's because he won't eat the bananas. And I go, okay, well, that doesn't seem like okay. No, you've already done it, so what are we going to do? Yeah, he pukes it right up. Carpet smells like peanut butter now. And then we go upstairs. He's not eating. He's not really puking anymore. He's got nothing in his stomach, so it's not like he had a virus or anything, which we've had, a couple dogs that would get into a bit of a puking storm because they had a lot of something poisonous to them and just could not stop puking. But not in this case. He wasn't doing that. So he ended up sleeping in bed with us like usual, just trying to like rub his stomach, just keep him in sight too, because he would go puke and you'd go find it. He's also very well known for like hiding his safe. He shits in the house, which doesn't happen ever anymore, but he would hide it like most dogs tend to do. So I was just nervous that he was gonna try to hide his pile of puke because he would think he's in trouble. It's like, you're not in trouble, little guy. And so we're in bed, and I hear him in the middle of the night like lapping up water. That's how exciting that story is for everybody involved. Sorry, guys, but he's lapping up water, and all of a sudden I kind of like come out of bed. I say, I don't know. It felt like 3 in the morning. It's probably like 1. And I go, God, it's a bad idea. And like 8 seconds later, you're just hearing bleh, and not just bile of his puke, but it's water and bile. So it's impossible to pick up slime easy. And I'm just sitting there going, just stop feeding the fucking dog, and just crying, just oh my God. And so just quit fucking feeding them. That's what I wanted to say to her, and she's gonna watch this, and she's gonna fight me on how that story went, but that's how I remember it going. What do you want me to do? I can't change how I perceive a story. You tell me something, I intake it, I suck it up, and I will tell the 78 people that watch the show. It's not a show. It's just me talking. Um, but so last episode, we're getting into the third grade, end of third grade, and the one part I was going to get to, but I didn't have a chance to, was at this point, Mrs. Richter was talking about her real quick. I'm just going to show the label from now on. I don't think I can get fired unless I do something stupid, or not fired, but sued unless I do something stupid. I'm going to test this out. I've never had one. Seltzer Topo Chico Lemon Lime. It's pretty good. So Mrs. Richter, she's big heavy-set woman, awesome lady. Got all the homework done for her. Got all that taken care of. Wrote that cool little poem I really liked about fucking Lyme disease. And one time it was about this time because we're getting peppermints and candies and stuff like that. And I'm just sitting there. I just remember hanging out, like kind of feeling the vibe out, just kind of sitting on a desk or something like that. And I threw a peppermint in my mouth. And, it's oval shaped, but it's flat as well. Or not oval, but circular. And I started sucking on it. And it flipped up. And it got stuck in my throat. So I just started choking. And I went, oh, my God. I'm doing this thing to my teacher. Because it's almost natural that you go, I can't fucking move. Something's wrong. It's that international sign of I'm choking. Well, no shit. That's where your hands are. You're like, I don't know what to do here. And so I walk up to her. I'm fucking beet red. And Mrs. Richards goes, are you choking? I go, you fucking bitch, I'm choking. I'm dying. I am fucking dead in about 10 seconds. And she turns around and butt fucked me until I popped that thing right out. And just, it was one of those, everyone's clapping their hands, holy cow, that kid almost died. And I wish I would have at that point. I was so embarrassed, and, no one wanted to date me forever. Still don't. No one calls me. But that was quite a funny moment, just the idea of how easy it is to choke on anything, especially a fucking piece of candy. It's literally the same exact size as your throat. I would have been a terrible boyfriend. I couldn't take anything in there. And, it was just a wild time that, I'm 34. I still think about that from time, every once in a while. I'll think about, God, it's just not that difficult to choke. You really got to chew your food. You've been taught that since the day you had teeth. You got to make sure that food is minced up pretty well. Pretty well. If you can't tell, I've let my beard grow in a little bit. I'm 34, and look at how much gray I've got. This is just bad genetics, folks. And I'm trying to breed. I'm trying to have a child, and this is what I'm going to pass on to my kid. Poor hairline. Baggy eyes, doesn't matter what I do. I guess I could quit drinking, but what's the point? What's the fucking point? I want to drink. I like drinking. You can't cross the line. I've crossed the line many a times. But, so kind of going on, one of the funnier stories that I was referencing being a little boy and how gross it is and how nasty it is and just how wild it is. Because like I was saying before, you are kind of delving into what gets your dick hard, and it's fucking gross. It's not gross at the time because you know something's wrong. You know something's wrong about what you're doing and why you're doing it. Once that juice starts to move, it is an adventure. It is a never-ending goal to get as much of that out of your body in the most pleasurable way, and it's just disgusting. And I'm going to tell a quick story because I find it funny. So side story real quick. The older we get in my family, we all had such a separation of contact every one of us at some point would not speak to someone in our immediate family because of something pretty traumatic. It usually had to do with just trauma that was taken out on the siblings at some point, or self-deprecating acts, and just we just would find moments and ways to destroy relationships even within our own family. But the older we get and the more comfortable we get about like the embarrassing shit that comes from growing up, the more we've kind of just started telling like, this is something that happened to me. This is something happened to me. And you're going, gee, why the fuck are you telling me this? But it's always fun. It's always, it's all in jest. It's not like, hey, this is something that I find that you should know. It's, sorry, that buzzing sound is my door shaking from how bad it's, the wind is blowing. It's terrible winter time right now. And so, but like the older we get, the more we're like divulging our deepest and darkest secrets about shit that you just don't want anybody to know about. And most of it happens when you're by yourself anyway, so you're kind of just, you don't have to hide it because no one knows about it. You just don't fucking say anything. It's not that big a deal. At 34, I know what I was doing was weird and gross, but it was in the private of my own fucking room. I'm sitting there playing with my dick by myself. It's not the worst thing I could have been doing. Well, so I'm going to tell the story. I just find it interesting enough. We used to have a bunch of cats, and they'd always, always get in heat, and they're just fucking nasty animals, in my opinion. I'm much more of a dog person than a cat person. A cat, like, will rub it, when it's in heat, a female, obviously, will kick its ass up like, just fuck me. It's like, Jesus Christ, cat, I can't. This thing will fucking destroy you. It'll kill you. But, so we had a lot of cats. We always had at least a cat in the house. And at one point we had some kittens, and I'm going to tell another story about how I'm not such a good person, but I keep saying how much of an animal lover I am. I'm upstairs. The boys had one room, the parents had another, and the girls had another room, up until the point where John would get his own bedroom downstairs. He was the oldest, and he's got some stories I'm gonna divulge on here too, because he'll never know about this, let alone does he ever want to watch anything I do. So I'm sitting on the toilet upstairs, and I'm pretty horny. I'm a young boy. It's about the 4th, 5th grade. It's about in that time frame. I don't really know. I didn't mark it on my calendar like this is when I was jerking off so I could tell the story later. But I got a little rocky, got a little rock hard there. I'm sitting on the toilet, and I'm going to pretend to shit. I'm going to pretend to poop so I can play with my dick. And I left the door open, just cracked, so I could hear people coming upstairs so I could just not jack off anymore and just pretend I'm shitting. Because if you just keep jacking off and you go, no, I'm taking a shit, and they go, dude, you left the door open, I could see you jerking off, then I don't smell shit, and you go, get out of here, it's going to be a bad memory. I wouldn't be doing something like this. I'd be in fucking therapy going, I got a real problem, or I'd be in prison, I'm sure at this point. Damn, that's tasty. And so I'm sitting there getting ready to play with my little weenie, and this cat, it's kind of a teenage kitten. It's not a full-grown cat yet. It's still like in that adolescent stage. He's kind of hanging out in the bathroom, and I'm kind of sitting down staring at me. Get out of here! I don't want you in here, you fucking weirdo. And I'm just sitting there, just almost like just really wanting to get into the zone, as they say. And this cat won't leave the room, and it's not meowing, but it's just kind of like doing little circles like cats can do. And I go, get the fuck out of here! I'm trying to get it out of the whole room in general. I didn't care what he did or she. I don't know. I don't care. And the cat is just staring at me, and I go, get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! And finally, that thing just jumps up, and I am butt naked from the hips down. All my clothes are at the bottom of my fucking feet, and my shirt's on. But that cat jumps up, and like just fucking tries to like claw into anything. And scratched the very tip of my dick right across the head. And I just remember like chasing that cat, pulling my pants up, chasing, y'all gonna fucking kill that kitty cat. Scratching my cock up, man. And that was like the most embarrassing moment because I just wanted to masturbate. What's so wrong with that? I mean, should I have done it on the publicly used toilet? No, probably not. Don't get me wrong. Is it an easy turnaround and just put her in the water and flush her down by kids? Oh, yeah, it's great. Great setup. Terrible, disgusting thing to do. Well, now you know. And I think about that, not all the time, but I think about moments like that you're fucking jerking off on a toilet. where your family pisses and shits, and then you're upset that the cat wants to be played with, and then you're like, oh no, get out of this room, you piece of shit, feline fuck. And then he scratches your cock up, and you're like, that's your fault, cat. No, that's you, you little pervert. That's you. That is completely my own gross little issues that, again, I deserved the punishment that came with it. Fucking disgusting. But that's, what are you going to do? I was trying to learn how to get away with jerking off. And, this whole episode is just going to be about how I jack off when I was a child. Oh, man. I'm trying to put together some good content that you guys like. That's all. I'm trying to put content out that I enjoy putting out, and then I think when certain people hear this, it's going to be somewhat of a laugh. Maybe a disgusting, like, I just don't think I should have this kid over for Christmas type of a feel, but it is what it is. Today's Christmas Eve. I'm shooting this on Christmas Eve, and there's already stories from what I jumped away from that I probably won't get back to, so I do apologize. Back to episode 1, apparently. But, yeah, so oh my God. Yeah, so it's Christmas Eve. So I'll address one thing. The episodes aren't going to come out on a weekly basis, like on the nose. Like with the way the schedule's looking, I'm struggling to get it out every 8 days, let alone every 7. One was like 10 days apart or something like that. But I'm trying to find a routine where, maybe I can be more alone, where if I say something or I scream or yell something, or, try to animate me being upset at my wife, that she's not going to come downstairs and go, you don't fucking say that about me. It's like, lady, I'm just trying to be funny, trying to have some fun, just joking around, nothing crazy. I love you, but I'd like to talk some shit if you're not home. And so, another story, I have to tell it because it's the funniest thing of all time. My mother, all of us, none of us are fucking family. Like, we're all just friends. Like, we're all friends that would die for each other. And our family is so open and gross with it is, like, when my wife comes and talk, or not talk, but when my wife comes with me to my family events, it is always a bit of a culture shock, because there's always something that gets talked about, that is just, when we go to her parents, it's more like, well, how's work going? Is work good? Work's great, Mom. Can I have some more meatloaf? And they've never cooked meatloaf. I've never had their meatloaf. It's mostly just Filipino food, which is fucking amazing. I'll eat my mother-in-law's food every day of the week. Just her food. That's it. I don't think my wife would even enjoy me making a further joke on what I could be eating. Oh. And so we get to another story about growing up. My mom, I'm making up a story, I think. If I remember right, I made up a story about a friend who, or I heard a joke or something like that about a weird way a guy got caught jacking off. I was young, trying to be funny. I was like, Mom, I heard this story. She's like, well, I knew a kid that used to fuck his stuffed animals. And I was like, really? Tell me more, Mom. She goes, this kid got caught, and he'd have the asshole of a dog was opened up, and you're just going, why is that asshole opened up on that stuffed animal dog? I don't know. And then you come to find out he got caught fucking that thing. And I went, really? I wonder what that's like. Yeah, so we went to a carnival, and a couple months had gone by. I didn't run right upstairs and go, oh, I got this stuffed animal. I didn't have any. I had no stuffed animals. I'm not a stuffed animal kid. And I'm also was raised as a as a boy, so I wasn't really given any as well, which is fine, because the next part of the story is, I'm sure, pretty well understood where I'm going with it, but it probably worked out for the best. But we went to the carnival. It had to have been a carnival, some sort of carny version of winning stuffed animals, and we won this fucking mallard duck. And I have no sexual affinity to ducks or birds in general, but I knew that you could fuck it. That's all I needed to know. That's all I needed to know. I took that thing, I ripped off the beak, and I fucked the hell out of that thing for months. Disgusting. But you don't tell a kid coming into jerk-off years, like, this is what another guy did. because you don't even know you're doing it. You're trying to expand and you're trying to figure out, how do I get this done? How do I do this? And your mind doesn't make sense. It's disgustingly confusing, and how uneducated boys and especially girls. I mean, the amount of stories you hear about fucking hot dogs or cucumbers going up on a girl and they got to go to the hospital is atrocious. But like, little boys are just sitting there like, I have to go up and down on this piece of skin until this pops, and I go, yeah, that's it. That's all I want to do. Hey, I'm gonna go play football. I'm gonna go play baseball in the yard. I'm gonna go kill a snake or two, and oh fuck, man, I'm all of a sudden so horny. I gotta go inside and pretend to take a shit and have a cat scratch me in the wiener on accident. But yeah, then I end up fucking this mallard duck and just going, man, like, it's just please don't let that be a trait that sticks. Don't let that be what you are. I never really thought that way because like I just was just jacking off. I didn't sit there and go, um, this is my thing. No, I would just keep, trying out textures and shit of that nature. Whatever. See what happens. See what works. I've also heard stories of people who like will put their dick in between couch cushions and fuck their couch. I never did that. I never did that. So everyone that is my family that watches this, you sat in not my goo. I hope you sleep better. And so, but it gets to another little part where on that same farm, I would go and just shoot birds left and right. They got me a BB gun. I would shoot birds left and right just because no one seemed to care. It was fun. And I fed all the cats. The cats would like follow me around. I was a fucking sharpshooter with a little Red Ryder. I mean, it's not the air pressured one, but it kind of loops. So you kind of have to go, well, I know it's going to drop, so I got to shoot a little high, and it would just loop and just rip a beak off and shit like that. And that was so fun. But I don't like the idea of just shooting for sport now. I would never go out and kill anything now. I have zero interest. Like, I tried to save 2 praying mantis, last winter. So I bought a fish tank, and I brought in a bunch of sticks and leaves and stuff, and I bought crickets and fed them. That's who I am now. I will save an animal at any given moment if I can. It's not always going to work. They both those praying mantis died, but I definitely try. I definitely enjoy nature, but I mean, back to just killing animals. I would go hunting for snakes. Snakes never really scared me. The only time I was ever really scared of a snake was when I walked up on a bull snake, and it rattled its tail. It's got like a fake rattler as well. But it's not poisonous. It's just a bull snake that can bite you. It's got fangs. It's going to fuck you up a little bit, but it's not going to kill you. And it scared me because I didn't know it was sitting right by the doorway in the little gravel, and it started rattling. And I go, what the hell is that? And I grabbed the hose, and I just sprayed it until it left, and you're done. But it was the only time it scared me. It's just refreshing. I don't know what to say about it. It's 100 calories. I feel fit already. And so I go hunting for snakes all the time. I would get the old gallon buckets of ice cream when they were empty, obviously, and put the snakes in there. I'd poke holes and try to survive them, or let them live in there, try to feed them crickets and shit, and they always died. It's the dead of summer, and I'm putting them in a plastic container with holes that are that wide, and I'm just going, well, I poked holes. Like, dude, you're cooking these fucking things from the inside out. I didn't mean to. I had no idea I was doing it. But on the flip side of that, we get these really big bull snakes. I mean, they'd be, I remember one snake was probably 4 feet long that got ran over by trucks on the farm, and we just found it dead. You're going, Jesus Christ! I didn't realize we had snakes that big, and then so that kind of got me into the zone of like, I want to get rid of these snakes. Apparently, we had found a snake. I don't know if it was a garter snake that, as an adult, I know they can't hurt you. They have no teeth, but it was just a big ass snake. And I grabbed that fucking thing, and I am whipping it around, fucking whipping it on the propane tank, and I just kept. I mean, I killed that thing 30 times in a row. That thing was dead before I even got there, I'm sure of it. And I'm just sitting there smacking the fuck out of it on a propane tank. Again, possible future serial killer stuff, school shooter stuff, sexual deviant, you name it. It's all there. It's all there for the if I were to ever do anything, the amount of times that people are like, yeah, I mean, he used to do this shit. Well, I mean, I don't do it now, thank God, but as a young man, a young boy, I kill them motherfucking snakes every day of the week. And not a goddamn snake gets. I mean, even there are times where I'll kill a snake now. We get garter snakes that breed like crazy underneath our front porch, and they're all over it. And I just kind of walk away or let them kind of scoot away, slither. But one was not moving, and so I kept taking the weed whacker and just trying to scare it. And it lunged and bit at me, so I just put that fucking thing in its mouth. Like, all right, if you're gonna bite at it, you're dead. What are you doing? But I don't tend to do that often. I don't enjoy death for animals that literally just live in life. They don't care. They don't care that they're in your property. Why would you? So, about fifth grade at this point, and I mean, you name it. Elementary school is just not interesting. Everything about that is just a boring time of life. Looking back at it, like, okay, I had some fun. That's when I really started to find a lot of passion about sports. I always loved baseball. I was a better athlete as a kid due to confidence. I brought this up, but like that was when I knew I was good at sports. I was very hardworking. I busted my ass. I was not going to be dead last ever. I mean, I was from time to time. We had a couple of really athletic kids, but it wasn't because of effort. I was there to work. I was there to get better and do better. And that was when I really found a lot of my good friends from sports too. The amount of people that I think about it very fondly. Even if they've tried to fuck my family and ask for dirty pictures and they're creepy and they're fucking rude or you name it, man. Those guys were like my best buddies back in the day. So that kind of came into like some of my best friends at that age were because of elementary school. And so we get to a point where in fifth grade we had to do, that's when 9/11 happened. I remember asking a teacher after the second tower was hit. I remember asking a teacher, did any more buildings get hit? And she was like, I don't think so. I just remember that question really, really vividly. Like, did any more planes crash into any more buildings? I don't think so. And you can't take it in the way it should have. As a human being now, if there's a terrorist attack, you're just going, the amount of safety is gone. Any safety you feel is gone. You really do start to look twice at everybody that you don't recognize, and that it just feeds a nasty fire. But it didn't at that age. It was just, well, what? Did any more planes crash? Well, I don't know yet. I mean, not yet. But in that same class, Miss Eicher, awesome lady, she would have these projects where you'd have to literally, hey, you pick anything from like certain subjects, an invention you've got to talk about. That's what I ended up picking, and I wanted to do the radio, and I put together a really good, presentation about it, and all of this other stuff about the information, when it started, how it worked, how long it took to get done, and who made it, all that, obviously who made it. And my buddy Mike, he knew I didn't know how it worked, though. I don't know how fucking radio works now. I have no clue. If you asked me how radio works, I would go, I don't know, because why the fuck would I need to know that? Ever. I'm not in that world. I don't need to know it. So I don't fucking study how does a radio work. And so he goes, presentation's done. My teacher's very pleased. And literally, she goes, all right, now you have to have everyone ask you questions that if anyone does have questions about your presentation. I went, okay. Mike raises his hand, and I kind of giggle. It's one of my best friends. I go, yeah, Mike. And he goes, how does it work? And I go, no idea. And my teacher was so fucking mad at me. She goes, you don't know how it works? I go, that's not something I researched. I just did all of the other information about the back and forth of the building it and that stuff. She goes, but you don't know how the radio works. And like, now that I'm telling that story again, like, I got a fucking D on that because he asked one fucking question and she wouldn't even allow other people to ask questions because I knew other shit. She wouldn't even allow other people to ask. She was so fucking mad at me that I didn't know how radio was working. I don't know how a fucking this works. I don't know how the mic works. I don't know why these work. How does these two lines produce the sound of my voice that I know I'm speaking into a fucking recording? No clue. I'm gonna get a goddamn worst grade because I don't know how technology works. I don't make it. I'm not a technology guy. Well, we're jerking off with fucking goddamn toys. Oh my god! I should have told her that. Said, hey, I'm not trying to be rude, Miss Hiker. It's not that I'm stupid. I mean, my mind is thinking about one thing 97% of the time. The other 3% are your giant tits. Well, 98% now if I'm gonna think about that. And then just how to come. And I'm fucking a mallard at home. I don't know how a fucking radio works. You're lucky the goddamn presentation got put together. Oh my god, but that was so funny just because he knew. Because I told him, I'm nervous about this. If someone asks me, how does it work? He goes, okay. He asked me, and I go, if I ever talk to him, I'll bring it up once in a while, like, because we only talk like every couple of years, but we'll chat, and I'll go, you fucking dickhead. And he goes, yeah, but the funny part was like, you told me you didn't know how it works, so I went, how does it work? I go, and you fucking ruined it, man. You ruined it for me. You ruined it. Oh man, and I think that's when we had to read the the Bill of Rights. You had to memorize it and say it out loud to your teacher. Which, I mean, talk about being indoctrinated into the American thought process. Which, you're not going to hear me complain at all about that. But big fan of America. I'm a big, proud voice of my nation. So, whatever. I think that there's a lot of great that comes out of knowing I'm a big history fan. I'm not a buff. I wouldn't say I'm a history buff, but I do enjoy history. But damn, that piece of shit. How does it work? I don't know, you fucking cock. But that was a fun time. Looking back at just getting in trouble for your inability to research. How does the TV send a signal? I don't know, you fucking asshole. I'm fucking 11 years old or 10, whatever it is, 11. What do you think I know? What do you think I can regurgitate back to a group of people at this point in my life about technology? Well, if I bend over and I spread my asshole, I can see like weird shit in my butt. Well, I could talk a little bit about that. How's the asshole work? Well, it's a muscle. Whatever. Oh my God. It makes you smile thinking about those memories, though. It's. I was just telling one of my buddies. I said it's weird. Like at the age now, you kind of just realize that you're not making a lot of those core memories as much. Like my wife and I do, but like my buddies and I just when we get together, it's just rehashing old stories, and you tend to drone a lot. The first time you tell an exciting story, like, there's so much energy behind it. You're so excited for someone to hear, like, oh, yeah, then I fucked her. She's a big fat cow. Dude, how funny is that shit? This is how it happened. Yada, yada. And then after that, you're like, yeah, I mean, she's a nice girl. She was a little heavy, but I was just really drunk. I don't know. It just kind of just happened. Yep, I had sex with her. Okay. Why are you telling the story? Well, it was exciting at first. Now it's not because I've told it 13,000 times to people that I think would enjoy a funny piece of shit moment of my life. But it dulls itself. Time will kill it. Any story you've ever got as a backup for like just having fun, if you told that story 10 years ago, tell it today and just listen to the lack of excitement in your own voice. It's just not embarrassing, but you just go, it's just not that good of a story. And it's not even a memory that we shared, so why did I ever think that people wanted to hear it that weren't there prior to me telling it tonight? I did that shit all the time. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, I was really drunk and pissed my pants. I don't know. But so we're going into sixth grade, and I'll finish with sixth grade at this point, just for the show. But my older brother John was in eighth grade, and so I was in sixth grade. He beat the fuck out of me in front of my friends every chance he could. The amount of times that motherfucker would just turn around and literally like a fucking movie, knock the books out of my hand, call me the F word, like F-A-G. I'm not trying to get too rude on anything homophobic or racial, and because some of these might get to a point where, well, then he called me this word, but that dumb piece, he's a piece of garbage when we were kids. So so this is when he starts kind of dating that slut who I called a slut, and he put a screwdriver in my throat. That's in that time. He's literally doing that where he's doing everything he can to just mess with me in front any chance he could. Most of the time, when it's my little brother and me, I'm gonna fuck with him. I'm gonna pick on him for sure. I love him. He knows I love him. I'm gonna make fun of him as much as I can, in good taste. If you get mad, you get mad. Go fuck yourself. Like I love you. Why are you mad at me? I'm picking on you. But in sixth grade, we've got all of these like you're around more people. It's not your class really separated anymore. Like you've got the older girls that are attractive. I'm too ugly and fucking poor and gross to get any of these girls, but I was always very nice. I was always very polite to these people. And you got kids that are now beating you up at lunch or fucking with you at lunch. Fights happening, and it's a different world. Getting beat up as a kid is an embarrassing thought because you get no real punching power. No one knows how to do a fucking thing. There's no body slams. There's no, there's no broken bones. It's just, he punched me in the nose. I got a little bit of blood in my puss. But now you're walking into it, right? Sixth grade was a lot more of watching kids fight each other, and even more so into high school. But junior high was a lot of kids trying to, I don't know, like find their pecking order placement, and it was just not for me. I'm not the kind of guy to puff my chest and try to show you who I am and where I'm at in the order. It's just not who I am. And so to find the amount of times where my older brother John would just go out of his way to fuck me up is like slamming me up against lockers, and I'm just going, just anger building and building for so long. And one time, it's sixth grade, had to have been because my mom came to pick me up for basketball practice, and that jackass turns around. I'm taking a little longer to get out to the car, which pretty standard, I'm talking to my buddies, getting cleaned up, whatever I'm doing. So he goes, Mom, I'll go in and I'll go get him, see what he's doing, see why he's taking so long. I'm literally getting my books for homework because at this point I actually fucking read and did homework. And he comes in, he goes, hey, let's go. Let's get moving. And I go, I'm coming right now, dude. I got to get my books, and I'll be right up. He goes, Mom said now. I go, all right, John. I'm around my buddies. I go, all right, John. Thank you. And this could be seventh grade, but who gives a fuck, man? My life's so goddamn boring. I got to fill some time with something. And so he comes up, he goes, I said, let's go. And he's almost chest to chest at this point. And I go, I'm coming right now, man. I'm coming out the door. And he just slams all the books out of my hands, and it just scatters. I'm like, I drop them, and I'm like, it just scatters. And I go, what the fuck? And it got to a point where I put everything in. I'm getting embarrassed in front of my buddies, and I literally just sit there and I'm going, I'm gonna lose my shit. I'm gonna go nuts. And I've had that feeling a few times, but like not at that age where I'm like, I've got something pumping. I don't know what, that testosterone, the adrenaline's going crazy, and I'm just, holy shit, oh my God. And he's calling me the F word all the way through, little bitch on back to the van, and he's, what are you going to do about it? He'll cry, baby. You better not tell on me. And I get to the sliding door, and I threw my bag in, and I just fucking rip one right to his nuts. I mean, a nice fucking hook let me get the hand in there, hook him right in the pecker. I dropped that stupid bitch. He is sitting there, oh, and you fucking deserve it. If I was in front of you right now, I'd be half tempted to do it again, you fucking scumbag. And so I just rack him right in the nuts, and he drops. And my fucking heart skips 1,000 beats. I jump right in the van. I left the fucking door open. I just wanted to get in the van, get into the van. And my mom goes, what the fuck are you two doing? And I just go, just kind of, oh. And John goes, he fucking punched me in the nuts. And so he's starting to reach in to grab me, and I'm going to get fucking pummeled. One other time did I ever punch him, and he beat the fuck out of me. Because I punched him for no reason. We're sitting in the old school, oh my God, what do they call the car? station wagon, when that very back seats faced the opposite direction, and it would always be me and him. It was always Shane and John. And I remember just looking at him one time like that, just staring at that fucking nose, just staring at his face. And I just went, and not even with my good hand. I'm on his left side, so I'd take my left hand and I'd pop right in the fucking beak. And I punched him as hard as I could. At that point, it's probably I was young. I was not old enough to really hurt anything. He starts gushing blood though, because you get punched in the nose. He beat the fucking shit out of me, and I deserved it. But now, cut two, I rip one right into his fucking nuts. I mean, it's a bad punch. I still can't punch very well now, but I just rip it right in his fucking nuts. He drops, and he's reaching in. My mom goes, "You don't fucking touch him." He goes, "He just punched me." She goes, "It's because you probably fucking did something, and you probably fucking deserve it. Get in the goddamn, get in the front seat." And the way she would do it, my mom, and Mandy will like this story, this part of the story. When she gets mad, she gets all cross-eyed. Her nose snarls up. I mean, it looks like a fucking half a dog. And she goes cross-eyed. "Get in the fucking car." And so it's just cigarette hanging out of her mouth, a little bit of a mullet cut blowing in the wind. "Get in the fucking cross-eyed car." Oh man, but that was one of the only memories I can really recall for this episode, about him and like being that age and just trying to grow up, man. Just trying to get to a point where he felt comfortable enough to say, "Yeah, this is me. This is who I am. I'm not very cool. I stink like shit. And I got a weird family that won't stop trying to beat the fucking piss out of me in front of you guys. Can I come over?" All right. You guys have a good one.